All right, so we'll just let it run for a couple of seconds. Hello, everybody. This is Becky Mossbrucker with the Stronger Together Tribe podcast. Today we have Amanda Jackson, and she's going to talk to us about yoga and how it can benefit us. So welcome, Amanda.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being on. So everybody talks about yoga and how it strengthens your muscles and helps us out in long-term advances. But tell us, first of all, how you got started with the idea of creating a yoga studio, and then we can talk about the benefits of how it helps us in a little bit.
Um, you know, I what gave me the idea to start a yoga studio? So I don't know that I ever had that idea. It sort of just happened. I started building a community of people who really wanted to feel more whole in their body. But before that, I mean, when I was 24 years old, I offhandedly was told by somebody to go try yoga to help with my back. I had a lot of lower back pain at 24 years old. I was really young. And I started gaining weight and stuff like that. And they're like, you know what, go. Some people said chiropractor, other people said yoga. Yoga seemed easier. I had kids, I could go to the YMCA. Anyway, 2 weeks of doing yoga at the YMCA 3 times a week, I had no back pain at all. And learned a lot of tips. Like I actually told the lady that's why I'm here, and she did a whole bunch of things with a block that I still do that help just keep my back feeling good. And so I've always kind of been on this yoga journey for a long time, right? And at first it started out as a physical thing. And then there's definitely a spiritual element to yoga. And it's subtle. And, it took me years and years to figure out that component of it, but it definitely started out as just physically moving my body, making it feel better. How can I make this beautiful thing that I have, last as long as possible, right? So,
That's interesting because I have lower back pain, and I go to a
hmm.
chiropractor, and he tells me the same thing. He's like, you don't need just me, and you don't need to just go to the gym and do weightlifting. You need to go to yoga. I'm like, okay, I'll
Yeah.
go. And then, you make time for what you
Well,
want, right? And so I haven't been to the gym in probably 9 months, which is a terrible thing to say. I get to work and I get so busy and so focused, I don't leave my desk, which is the worst thing you can do for back pain. So I'm on a goal this year of 2024 to get back in the gym and to try yoga and, try some different things to alleviate the back pain and be able to sit in a car for longer than 3 hours, which I can't do right now
yeah.
because my left leg will go numb. I am in pain. I have got to get out of the car. So anybody that rides with me anywhere is like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? Yes, I have a limit, and I will tell you, I need to get out, and I mean now. So I am
Well,
very
yeah, and
happy.
since then I've discovered what the reason is why we feel better with yoga. There's something physiologically going on, of course, but there is a spiritual component. But the physiology of it is kind of interesting, and it's something we all learned about in middle
Oh, that's
school. There's a molecule in our body, ATP, which is like the energy cell of our body. And when we stretch our fascia, which is this netting that's just under the skin, all over your body, when you get a massage, this is what they're doing. They're stretching your fascia. And what's happening is every time you stretch your fascia, what scientists have discovered is that it's telling your body, produce more ATP, produce more energy, and we're breathing in yoga while we're doing it. And so the ancient yogis, like, I don't know if they knew that but this is how we explain it now, what's going on in the body. They explain it completely differently. There's all these systems that have crazy words to them, like koshas and kleshas. But from a scientific point of view, this is what's happening. It's the fascia, and it's this ATP, this energy molecule that we're just producing more of. And the other thing that's happening is compression. So when you compress any part of your body, like your lower back, right, your sacrum area, that low back, if you compress it for a few minutes and then you go to remove the compression, the body is going to immediately send a bunch of blood and a bunch of nutrients to that area, and which is going to cause healing, which is going to promote healing in the body, like self-healing. So those are like the two number one things that I tell people. Why should you do yoga from like a physiology or scientific point of view? Like, why does this work? That's why. But there is a whole nother side to it which is equally as interesting.
That is awesome. You don't realize what your body can do and what it can't do, and until you talk to somebody like you, and it's like, oh my gosh, we don't know, or at least the common person who's not a yoga instructor probably doesn't know all the benefits of having yoga or going to yoga classes and the stretching. And one of the chiropractors that I see in the practice, he does yoga, and I was just like, big burly guy, and I'm like, are you sure? He's like, oh yes. And I'm like, really? I would never have thought that. And he was like, I'm telling you, it's good for you. Okay, I got it. I hear you. And if he's telling you to go do something besides pay him money, then it's got to be right.
Well,
Right.
it's something you can do on your own. As I've gotten older, I turned 42 this year. I flew to Guatemala actually this year, and it was a long flight.
Wow.
And my legs, I got this restless leg stuff going on. And thankfully, I know the yoga pose that's perfect for that. And I can actually do it on a plane. I can do a forward fold. I can stand up. I can fold in the aisleway.
Wow.
And do people look at me a little weird? Maybe sometimes. And then other people get up and do the same thing. They stretch and they fold. Right? And it really does help with, making the body just feel better, make the experience of being a human being a little more enjoyable.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that phrase. That sounds amazing. So, what do you think, besides the physiologically part of it, what do you think that women can benefit from learning yoga and learning more about their bodies? How does that help us?
Well, yoga really makes the connect. I mean, it's a process of finding wholeness, right? Yoga means unity,
Oh, okay.
right?
I
Well,
did not know that.
right. And so what are we uniting? Well, I'm uniting my body with my mind and with my energy source, that bigger part of me, that feeling nature, right? This is the spiritual part that all of us have. It's not tangible. This is the intangible of our experience, and this is our energy. And so in yoga class, we're connecting all of those. We're using movement, we're using breath, we're using an inclusive environment. Like there's guidelines and values that go along with practicing yoga. Like it's quiet when you go into a yoga class typically, and there's other qualities that are there, and that's part of the practice. um, so the spiritual component, probably the biggest thing I can say, like just speaking for women, because we are naturally spiritual in nature. We have a womb, we are capable of producing children. Whether you have or have not, you're still capable. You're a creator innately. It's literally in your blood. It's in your body. And it's also, so we're naturally leaning that way. And so a lot of women go to yoga because it addresses those subtler parts that don't get addressed in like our masculine yang type world where we're always constantly going and doing. Whereas when you go to yoga class, are we doing hard things? Possibly, depending on the class you're going to. By breathing, by backing off if you've gone too far, right? If you think of traditional like weightlifting, I did CrossFit for several years, no pain, no gain, like take it to the max. Like yoga can be that way, but we're gently walking you into it. And it's subtle because we're working with the subtle bodies. We have five of them. The ancient texts of yoga talk about this. The first one's our physical body, right? We all know that one. Our second one is our emotional body. This is our energetic body. And it can be, tumultuous. I can't say that word, but, there's ups and downs in that body. And then as we start to move out, we get to, or no, I'm sorry, we get to our energetic and our breath body second, and then it's the emotional body. So the third one's the emotional body. And then the fourth one is our intellect, our psychic nature, our mental nature. And then the sixth one is the bliss body. And in a good yoga class, you will pass through these layers and get to your bliss body and lay down at the end of class and be like, whoa, that felt good. I just want to lay here. And you do. That's like the best part of class is the last 5 minutes where you get to just lay on your mat and hopefully just be in that bliss body.
That sounds awesome. I didn't know. See, I just did not know all of that stuff about yoga. I did not know about all the different bodies and all that. So if I don't know about it, there might be lots of other people who are listening who don't know about that. Do you?
Did it make sense? Is it
Yes.
accessible to you even? Okay. I was just making sure I
No,
didn't like go over your head with what I was talking about. Okay.
no. It totally makes sense in all the different categories because we compartmentalize things in our lives naturally. We just do, right? And to hear that yoga has those capabilities and we don't even realize it makes it sound even more enticing to people who want maybe some kind of calm in their life, right? Maybe some exercising and stretching and all that is still exercising. And then to see people be able to relax at the end of the class and just be in that moment sounds amazing. Do you have classes that are like for beginners to explain like what you're talking about now with the 5 bodies? Or is there some place where people can go to find beginning terminology about yoga so that when they go to a class, they actually know what they're, because I would be like, I don't understand any of these dog facing poses or whatever it is. I don't, I don't know them because I don't go to yoga. So is there a good website?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest, that's one of the reasons when I started BlueSky Yoga, my yoga studio, that that was I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm starting to build this community. What does my business look like? And it was kind of address this concept because the biggest thing I hear from people is like, well, I don't want to try yoga. It seems so intimidating. I don't know the terminology. I don't know what to wear. I don't have a mat or my mat's like from 5 and below. Is
Yep.
that okay? And, I really strive to create this inclusive environment where you can show up and know absolutely nothing, and we're just going to walk you into it and it's going to be fine. Um, so, yeah, I mean, our classes are like that. I recommend to people to do a private lesson.
Oh,
If you are worried about walking into that, it is a little bit, it's a little bit of an investment. Sometimes you can find a special at a studio where they have them discounted a little bit, but that's where you get one-on-one time with a yoga instructor and be like, look, what do and I do those. I love working with people one-on-one. And so I get quite a few of those people who call the studio and and I'm like, well, let's do this together. And then I'll put you into the right class for you based on what comes up in our private lesson, because we have all different kinds of classes. We have fast paced strength building classes. We have restorative classes where you don't move at all, barely. You just
oh,
move
wow.
from one napping position to the next napping position, you know, and everything kind of and things in between to, my favorite class to teach is the one where I combine the two. I have restorative poses and then I have a fast pace, where we're going to build a little bit of heat element to it. So,
Well, that's cool to know that there are so many different levels to it too, because I just think it's going in, doing some poses, relaxing, and then you go home. So I know nothing.
no, there's 8 limbs of yoga. There's
Oh,
eight
wow.
limbs, and the poses are only one limb.
Oh, golly. See,
Yeah.
did not
Breath, that's another limb.
really.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
So, yeah.
sense. I know my chiropractor was teaching me to do box breathing.
Right.
And I was like,
Yes.
I never thought about that. And then I was talking to one of my coworkers who's retired military, and he's like, yeah, we used to teach that all the time in training. in the
I
military.
love breath work. Breath work
My
is so
gosh.
powerful.
Yeah, I really,
And
because
it's
it
the thing we
really
take
feels
for granted the most is the fact
right.
that we're breathing all the time.
It will slow you down and make you concentrate or think or relax or whatever it is that you need to do, especially if you're outlining that box in your mind while you're breathing. It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
It will, yeah, that has really helped with some things lately.
Oh,
Um,
the biggest cue I give in any class I'm teaching, whether it's a restorative class or a faster pace classes, inhale and exhale.
right.
Just reminding people, because you don't realize, I mean, when I first started doing yoga, in my 20s, I didn't realize how much I held my breath. I'm a breath holder and I can hold my breath a long time.
Oh,
I have
wow.
discovered because I pay attention so much now. And I've met a lot of people who are breath holders, and maybe you are, I don't know. And then some of us are sighers, right? We'll just randomly like go,
That's my
we
husband.
all have our little idiosyncrasies with our breath that happen because we're not paying attention to it as much. And so that's part of the fun part of yoga is you get to learn about yourself, right? This is part of the connecting process of connecting these three parts of yourself is you get to learn about all the aspects, not just the external ones, but the internal ones.
Oh, that's cool. That is very cool. All right. So where can people find you? Give me, you mentioned the name of your company, but give it to us again and let us know a few of your handles, and I will link all of that at the end of the video so everybody's got access to get to your classes. And do you do online classes or just in person?
I do online classes, and this month I am offering it for free because I just
Oh,
started it up this month. So it's on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. And it's every Wednesday. It's 100% online. And then so BlueSky Yoga in Yorktown, Virginia is the yoga studio that I own. And I'm about to have a new studio, which will be in Williamsburg. So more to come on that. And BlueSkyYoga757.com is how to get to that studio. And that's my handle on Instagram as well, BlueSkyYoga757. And then personally, I have a bunch of things going on, workshops I do. And that's at my personal website, amandakjackson.com.
oh, okay. So people can find you at both of those then.
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much, Amanda, for being with us today. I've learned a lot about yoga I did not know.
Well, thanks for having me. Hopefully it wasn't, too much.
No, 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 no. It's very good. It's good for us to find out what we can do to, better ourselves, strengthen ourselves. And, the whole idea of this podcast is to come together as a group of women and learn something that will benefit us and, challenge us and, make a positive impact. And that sounds like that is completely what yoga is all about. And I'm very excited to learn some more about that. So thank you for being here, and we will see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.